Hey guys, welcome to my channel. This is Jay from Coding with Jaybird, where I upload weekly tutorials to help build your confidence in coding. Today we're going to learn about background images. Let's get started, shall we? Learning how to create background images is essential in web design. I've created a div in my index.html to demonstrate this. I've given it an ID of animal, and what I'd like to do is in the styles.css, I'd like to target this div of animal. And I'm going to give it a background color to start. So let's start with the background color of plum. I'd like to add a bit more margin and padding. The margin will allow us to create the space between the outside edges of our browser window. And let's add some padding. And what padding does is padding actually increases the area of the background. So when I save it, we'll see that now we have this large area for the plum background color. So we can use padding to create the amount of surface area that we'd like to have for our background color or eventually our background image. The way we add a background image is by using the background image property. The value for this is URL, round brackets, and in these round brackets, we have to pass in the direct file path for the file that we'd like to use. I'd like to use an image in my IMG folder, and I'm going to select this kitten.jpg. Now this kitten.jpg is 640 pixels by 427 pixels, so it's a pretty decent size. And the file path for this would be ... because we want to hop out of the current folder that we're in, which is the CSS folder, and then we want to enter the IMG folder and then grab the kitten.jpg image. And now you can see we have this image, but it doesn't look like we expect it to look. We're seeing multiple versions of it. There's actually 4 copies of this image. So what's happening is this kitten.jpg is not large enough to fill in this entire padding of 200 pixels along with the space that the content takes up. So how do we fix that? Well, we can stop the background repeat by saying background dash repeat no repeat. So by giving it a value of no repeat, we're saying we don't want it to repeat. And as you can see, this is the size of the image itself, and we have all this extra space where you see the plum background. Another thing you could do is instead of background no repeat, you could do a background repeat in the X, which just repeats in the horizontal. So you can see in the horizontal plane, now we have 2 images. We can also do this in only the Y plane, which repeats it vertically. I'm going to go back and set it to no repeat. And now we're going to use another property called background size. And the value that I'm going to choose to give it is cover. Now I love using cover. It's something I use almost all the time in my web design. And what it does is it allows us to resize the background image to cover the entire container. So this entire purple space, even if it has to stretch the image or cut a little bit off one of the edges. So let's have a look at this. That looks much better than before. Now we've got this kitten image and it's filling up the entire area of this container. I don't like that the kitten's kind of pushed all the way to the right. So one other property that I can use is the background position property. Now I'll use the value of center, and this will center this image to this container. Much better. Now I want to demonstrate a few more things. So I'm going to duplicate this and then comment out our first bit of CSS code. And we don't want these background images and this positioning. I'd like to start with the same plum box as we did before. This time I'd like to have a different background image. Now I'm going to choose an image from my IMG folder called dog. Now if you look at dog, it's a very large image. It's over 5,000 pixels by 3,000 pixels. So now this image should perfectly fit in this box. Let's see what this looks like. Oh, I don't see my dog. But I know the image is there because I'm getting some of the coloring. So what's going on? Well, since this image of dog is so large, only a portion of this image is filling itself inside of this container. Once again, we need to change the background size of this image. So let's change the background size and give it a value of cover as we did earlier. Oh, that looks much better. Okay, now I still don't like where the dog is. I mean, a good portion of my dog image is being cut off. Well, I can use something called background position. And for this, I can give it different values. So let's start with the value center. And this will center the dog or the image that we're using to the container itself. We can also opt to specify a specific offset. So this can be either a length or a percentage from any one of these corners or these edges. So I'm going to override the previous background position with a new background position of right top. Now this can take two values. So what I'm doing is I'm basically saying I want the right corner of the image to be fixed. So if you look at this dog image, this entire pillow is showing up in this corner. So we're fixing the image to the top right corner. I can also say I want to change it to the right and give it a value. So let's say 100 pixels, and I'll say maybe bottom this time and 100 pixels. And now what I'm doing is I'm saying, okay, fix it to the bottom right, but offset it by 100 pixels from the corner. So 100 pixels left this way and 100 pixel up this way. And you can see this is the rightmost bottom corner of the image. However, what it's doing now is it's repeating the rest of the image because we haven't done the background repeat of no repeat. All right, let's comment out this background position of right bottom. We don't really want this offset, and let's leave it as position of center. Something else that's really neat and you're going to enjoy when you're building your web pages is fixing the background image and having the text scroll over it. So now for this demonstration, I'm going to change the padding to 300 pixels so that we can see that we've got, the scrolling image. So now when I scroll, you can see, the image and the text are moving together. However, if we were to change the background attachment property and give it a value of fixed, now we'll see that the background image will not scroll with the page. Everything looks the same on the right. However, when I start scrolling, you can see the container and the text seems to be moving. However, the image in the back is fixed. So this creates a really nice effect when we're building our web pages. All right, everyone, that's it for my video on background images. I hope you've been enjoying my video series so far. If you have, please don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button so you can be notified of new videos as I release them. Until next week, keep on coding.